VINCENZO'S Gold Crypto Investing this June the 3rd, 2025. Daily cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, and XRP gold and silver bullion update. Once a day, every day, at least, that you've come to expect, love, need, and deserve. And remember to bell notification, comment down below, like the channel, and share to help spread the movement and the word and message of the channel that's there for you and created for the retail trader and investor to keep you well informed and educated to make educated and informed decisions and allow your emotions to remain in check because you are well educated and cool and even keeled and your emotions are even keeled and in check, so you are not emotionally pushed into a bad decision. All right, and that's why we're here. And as you do know, we have tomorrow is going to be our first for members of Jabroni Killers. And if you want to become member of Jabroni Killer, it's as easy as going to my channel, going into my content, clicking the page, going to the video, getting out of there, and all the video description and or the pinned comment. Just click the link right there with the thumbs up sign. uh, $3.99 a month, the cheapest and best value to help support a channel, which is very important that we get our message and word and movement out to keep the retail trader there. We are going to have, if you for the members of Jabroni Killers, we put our gold 2026 target out, 2025, 2026 target, and we're going to put our first price targets. People are always asking me on select coins, and I'll have XRP, Bitcoin, and ALGO, and a couple other ones for my remainder of 2025, what I expect the swing low to be, and then the range that I expect us to trade in the rest of 2025. And then in the next couple of days, later on towards the weekend, I'm going to put out for Jabroni Killer members what I expect 2025 and 2026. What I expect in 2026, I expect a pretty good shot of an accumulation zone in a lot of these coins, right? And you can see the Bitcoin price now as we move into this. You can see a couple things that are very, very evident. As you do know, we have a basket and an algorithm that has a lot of indicators and a lot of data points that go into. Let's get rid of that. That go into making tracks and predictions and what we're looking at. Not only is it the technicals, not only is it the news, but it's the outside existential forces too. It's a whole bunch momentum. It's a lot of different things, but you can see, notice here, we had the big run up, and we told you we were in this rising channel. We called that beautiful $74,000 bottom or $74,000 target where there should be a bounce, and there was a bounce. You never know how high the bounces are going to go. This one obviously went very, very high because it went to a new all-time high. But we got out ahead of this with the track with the first mover advantage, even giving you guys and Jabroni Killer members and this audience, and the reason we need to spread the word is that we were topping out up here. We were calling this the whole time that we were topping out, and we had a 74,000 initial target that we were going to come hit when we were way back here, steaming up to $109,000 all-time high after the massive rally from Donald Trump, but you can see the track showed it going down. So that gave us that extra added confidence that we needed and aided us into our medium range forecast, short to medium range forecast to let us know there was going to be a correction in the Bitcoin price and more than likely across the smaller cap coins too as time went on. And that's what happened. But then look at what happened. Look at the track. These are just a few. We have dozens and dozens of tracks for different things that are formed, but these are just the ones that we use to show you. You could see it show that there was going to be a bounce. So we knew, and we were calling and advertising a bounce on this $74,000, right? First mover advantage as we were coming down. We were telling you, and as we were getting closer, we were more and more and making it more of an emphasis that there was going to be a bounce. But we had our target up here at about 90,000 was our upper target, right? And it obviously broke past that. And we should have went more bullish because the track said it. But as the farther out you go into the forecast, the model is just like a computer weather blah, 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 speak Vincenzo weather model. The variables as you go on exacerbate themselves tenfold each day, each hour, each minute into the future, right? And the longer into the future you get, the more erratic one error in the model will make a result show up that's never actually going to happen in reality, right? But It did come up to a new all-time high. It kind of reacted just like the 2021 COVID mountain double top that you had a first top that looked like this, but then you had a 50% correction in the last one, and then you had the double top that briefly broke the all-time high, just like this one did. And you can see the track, which is very interesting. Besides the outliner to the upside, you can see the two tracks started to go down right there, and we've been calling for a retest and a breakout because it's a rising channel. And we do know a rising channel are bullish. When they're rising, they're bullish. Continuation pattern, see that bullish bounce, upper resistance, upper resistance, upper resistance, and then short upper resistance, but resistance, and then rising lower support, 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 breakout, right? They're bullish continuation patterns, but almost 8 out of 10 times they're bearish reversal patterns as when you get it combined with the rising channel with falling volume during the whole thing, that's letting you know the price is being exhausted. And another thing, along with that falling volume that we emphasized, look at the pump. Look how big this move was. Then we had our biggest move here in pump two. Pump three got smaller. Pump four got much, much smaller and was the smallest one out of all these four pumps. And then the breakdown, right? And that's something that we were talking about and keeping you out ahead of. We've been telling you if you break down, there's your moving averages in the daily, the 50, the 100, and the 200 right here where the price is consolidating just above the 50. Then you got the 100 at 96,000. You got your first major support level at 97,185.38. Then you got the 200-day moving average sitting just above in the daily time frame, the critical bullish or bearish area that as long as you bounced off this at 89, 90,000 even, you're still bullish consolidation. Slip below it, you're instantly severely bearish and the price would fall very, very quickly. And a technical target out of a rising channel is near the start of the channel, which is near that $74,000. Obviously, if this thing kicks out to the upside and we just have that spur euphoric pump like we are known to do, is $118,000 is our overhead target there with the Bitcoin price. If we go into the Ethereum price, you can see making this, we're kind of looking like this Bart Simpson pattern, even though we just had a bullish cross, but we do know these can be lagging indicators sometime. But you can see the bullish cross, right? Where the 50 got above the 100-day moving average, but we've been trading sideways again, just like we were back here. And I'm going to show you, we have two scenarios that are going to take place. We just had that bullish cross, bam. We see that uptrending. We have this consolidation along this critical $1,800 top part of this blue support resistance box. Notice we have the pump, the long consolidation sideways, then the breakout. Now we have the same thing above the 200-day moving average in the daily time frame at 2,453.83 cents. The pump, the long consolidation. Now, if this breaks out, the technical target would be all the way up here at $3,536.52 with an initial short brief resistance here at $3,058.30, right? That's scenario one. Scenario two is this breaks down, and the first drop is you come straight to the 50-day moving average and retest this freshly minted bullish cross, right? You would likely have a slight bounce off of that. And then what would happen after that is you would fall very, very fast and very, very quickly down to the $1,799.61, right? And you would have this Bart Simpson formation, right? Where you have the Bart Simpson head, where you have the big pump, then you got the choppy Bart Simpson hair, and then it comes straight back down to where it started. And you can see those in the bearish way to reversals, or you can just flip that upside down and it's the bullish reversal. And those happen both ways. And those are the two scenarios I think Ethereum are going to happen here over the immediate short term. The same thing we got here with the XLM. And something that you notice is we've been emphasizing this too with the first mover advantage, a reason to support the channel. Hit that bell notification, hit that subscription, become members of Jabroni Killers. We've been talking about these moving averages that were constricting, running parallel and pretty much on top of each other. Now the 50 is about to cross back below the 200, which is a bearish cross in the XLM price, but it's essentially on top of each other. The 100-day just above it. We were talking about a big breakout, a big move coming across the crypto sphere because all these coins had similar consolidations with the moving averages, tightening like a boa constrictor on the price. And you can see the price very, very quickly went from last week up here at 31 cents to the swing low at 20, just below 26 cents, right? And we hit that critical support area that we were talking about. And we knew and kept you well informed that there would be at least a slight bounce off of this critical major support level that's been that way for about 4.5 to 5 months now. And now we're going to run up into these moving averages that are trending down, threatening to have a bearish cross. And this is more than likely going to act as overhead resistance, right? And break you back down. And if you break below this 25 cents, that's where very, very big danger happens. And notice the track in the background. The price has been following the mean of the track. If you look at besides the outline or the upside, if you just look at the mean in between them, they've been following it beautifully, aiding in the confidence of our overall forecast that we've had. And these are industry exclusive and channel and channel created here to help us and show you to give you a more visualization on the screen to see what I goes through in my head to help put these forecasts together for you on future price predictions and accumulation zones and future targets. And again, just like the Bitcoin price, there's going to be another long, and I'll show that after because I forgot to show it to you. Just like the XLM price, you can see the consolidation, but see this major 25 cents in the short term. And this is very important when we talk about short term reversals or consolidations or sell offs and bear markets or short term corrections after major pumps. We're not saying the coin's dead. We're just giving you the heads up that that is not the appropriate time to buy. The appropriate time to buy would be when you hit 18 cents, when you hit 14 cents, if you're lucky enough to get there. And then God help us if we ever got back down there. But this is not in the forecast. That is not in the forecast. What was in the forecast from after we made the top, when we were in this area right here, as we were making our second run up to our second high, but just below our regional high of 63 cents, we put these targets of hitting the 200-day moving average at the time, which was down at 27 cents, and then hitting the 25 cents, and then hitting the 18.5 cents, which we almost hit there. We hit just above there at about 20 cents, and then potentially as low as the 14 cents. And you can see the one track actually went down there. But the one thing that if we got down there, look at where that track goes into the long term, right? If we go out into the monthly, look where that ends up actually going in the long term. In 2026, 2027, our end game bull market. Look at this. It goes all the way up here and has a swing high of $1.55, a massive. The one that has the biggest, steepest correction is actually the one that has the biggest bull market that we bottom out in 2026 and 2020 or 2025 and early 2026 and form the bottom, and then late 2026 about 1 year later, form the next leg of the bull market and go up 17 times itself if it went down to 8 cents. But I am currently not forecasting 8 cents. I think if you could get a 14.5 cent, that is a ultimate golden consolidation. Infiltrate more bags that if you are already holding, that is a golden time to buy. To assault the buying purchasing market to accumulate massive amounts if we do end up hitting this 14 cents. The same thing with the Bitcoin price that I'll briefly go back over. It's the same way as I was telling you, this is just where you do not accumulate. That's a horrible time to accumulate. You accumulate lower than that. Even if you bought your first XLM or you accumulated more down here at the 22, what was that? 20, 21, 22, 23, and even where it's at now, 25. A lot better spot to accumulate and buy more coins, just not knowing if it's actually going to 14 cents versus buying it after it 8x's itself. And that's what we try to stress here. But sometimes it gets misconstrued as I'm saying the coins are going to zero. It's all about spot buys, timely buys, and truly getting in the market and accumulating more into your bag to maximize your portfolio and your investment and your return to your future luxury of lifestyle that you're trying to live, right? So there's what we got there going on in the XLM price. In the short term, if this does hold though and bounces off to 25 cents, your next major resistance zone would be up in this area right here, up at about the 35.5 to 37 cents. And you can see when we get that horrible advertising off the screen, you can see the reason that that would be is look in the weekly time frame. See all the support right there, and then see all the resistance on the flip side. That's your major area of your next resistance if you were fortunate enough to just bounce straight up to the upside from here. But briefly, before we go into the XRP price, the same thing is what we're trying to say here as the Bitcoin price isn't going to zero, but you can see one of the tracks shows it going down to $32,000. And that is one of our targets. That is our official target going right now. But that same track, look what it shows as it hits the bottom. It goes on 2026, 2027, a massive bull market. And by the end of 2027, it's sitting up here at $233,211.89. And one would say, well, what's the difference if you buy it here now as it's going down? And who cares? Because if you bought it here and it ends up there, you're still making a 1x move. True. But if it consolidates like we think it's going to, even just at its swing low where it came down to from here, if you would have bought it here and it goes up to that $230,000 target, you're making a 2x return instead of a 1x return by just waiting and not buying the top of a pump. Right. But say it gets down to our mid ground, it doesn't quite go down to 32,000, but say it gets to 57,000 and you buy it there on the way down, accumulating. Now you've just 3x the move instead of only having a 1x move by understanding and timely buying. Now, if you've been buying Bitcoin for 10 years, it doesn't really make a difference. Just spot, but it still does make a difference because it makes a bigger difference because you can buy a bit more Bitcoin. If you had Bitcoin, then you rolled the pump, it makes less sense to buy the $74,000 top. You can buy a lot more Bitcoin by letting it consolidate after from the 74,000 down to the swing low that time, 30% off. That's your time to accumulate, then ride the next wave, right? That's all we're trying to say here. We have big targets. We're going to be releasing this to members of Jabroni Killers. And I'm not saying we have a $230,000 target next year, but there are big bull market targets in the 2026, 2027 end game stage of this bull market that we're currently in after a mid ground and a mid game consolidation that I'm still expecting to take place. But I just wanted to go over that just so you guys are understanding that there are big targets, even though sometimes I embarrass for several months to maybe a year at a time because it's warranted. And so far, these coins have been following down in the path of the consolidation, just like the XCN. This was another one that I didn't know XCN existed until it was brought to my attention back here during this erratic, sporadic, euphoric, I believe about a 30x pump from November to its blow off top right here. And it got brought to my attention in January. So from November to its blow off top, it went up 48 times itself. And when I seen it, if we zoom into the daily time frame, it was getting up here. It was right about here in the mid January, mid to late January. And I said I would never recommend FOMOing in or buying after a 48% pump. But like I said, a disclaimer, I would have said the same thing here. It's probably not the best time to buy, but you got to do what you're going to do because that would have been after a 28x move in the matter of a few weeks. But I said there would be a better buying opportunity. And look what happened, especially from the time that it got brought to my attention after it was 48 times itself. It went from swing high where we identified a head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern. Hard to see it, but in the 4 hourly, you can see it. And our target was down here at 0.014 or the top part of the next support and resistance box. And you can see it actually made it down here February 25th. So a month, exactly 30 days later, and the price was down 71.63% from that top. And that's why we were stressing, do not buy that. And then it actually went down farther. It went down 85.14%. Yes, still way above what it started at down here. But if you never bought anything or you wanted to accumulate more, you're better off accumulating more back down here after it had a 48% run up and then came down 85% because it gave you a local top and it gave you time to cool off and identify the market, right? And that was a much better time to accumulate. Or if you've never bought, it's always a horrible time to buy in after a 48 times move or even a 10x or a 5x move because there's going to be a consolidation. And if you bought the hype by watching a YouTube charlatan channel that you turn on and they know that's how retail plays it, and then they see the first channel or any channel that's got big influence and they're just saying buy, 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 it's going to continue going up, 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 it's the next XRP, Bitcoin, etc. You get caught holding the next 4 months being down 85%, and then you end up selling at a big loss when you can't take looking at a 3 to 5 to 6% loss every single day. But as we moved on from there, as we got back into here on this most recent pump, um we were identifying after we bounced and we were coming down here, we said this was an area where we could bounce. And then as it had the ferocious bounce, we said our next area of resistance is the top part of the box at 0.01442. And if it got above that, your next area of resistance that it would shoot to very quickly was the bottom part of this light pink resistance and support zone. And you can see it got right up here to 0.02762, got resisted and snapped, bam, down. Consolidated, but stayed above the moving averages and stayed above the critical support zone, attacked it again, got resisted, smacked right back down again for time number two. But again, it stayed above the 50-day moving average. And we kept saying if it comes back up here, this is your likely spot to get resisted, right? And bam, it got resisted. Then we showed the moving average is running parallel. We talked about after getting resisted 3 times, the support was starting to grow thin down here, and your next move down, and it would happen quickly. And the percentage move, we'll look at it from here on the 24th to now. You can see it wicked off beautifully to the top part of this light purple zone at the 0.014 cents, just above the 200-day moving average. And now what we're expecting is this is going to start acting, as you can see, the 50 is starting to downturn. It's threatening to show in the infancies in about a week to 10 days a bearish cross. This is going to start acting as resistance now. And I think we're going to come down to the 200-day moving average. And that's going to be a critical stop and a critical step, because if we can't hold the 200-day moving average and stay above the top part of this darker purple trading zone, you will come very quickly in the medium term back down to where this move started, right? On any, if you can hold this pump, the upside of this pump would be a ferocious move and would actually bring you this time all the way to the top part of this light pink support and resistance zone at 0.04281, because we've chipped away at enough if we come back up from where we're at now, right? Same thing with the XDC. You can see we did have a big fall. As we were telling you, this whole consolidation, the moving averages are essentially on top of each other. We just minted a bearish cross where the 50 is got underneath the 100 to 200-day moving average. We told you the price was going to have a big breakout. And again, in this case, it broke out down. And in the last several days, at current price, it's down 24.12%. Our technical target that we've been maintaining this whole time in XDC from this head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern. Again, something we gave you the first mover advantage when the price was up there still forming the head. We put out this technical target down there, which was a 52% breakdown from the neckline support. And you can see we broke down and we're about 50% of the way down there. And if we don't get support soon, we told you, again, when we broke down, we told you this would be your area of support. When you were up here, if we broke back down, that would be where you need to hold support. And if you fail to hold that support, which would be more likely as you bounce here, and then in a few days, the descending overhead moving averages actually force that down and are what actually facilitates a move to the downside and fulfill that technical target. I still believe that's going to happen. But for any reason, if this has just a sporadic, crazy reversal, your next major upper resistance would be the regional swing highs up here at 0.0831. Like the channel, subscribe, become members of Jabroni Killers with this hazy wildfire smoke sunshine day on a seasonably mild, warmest day of the 2025 season with a high temperature J of 84 degrees from just north of downtown Detroit, inside the Vincenzo compound in the great state of Michigan. J. Peace and love. Direct side, bro. J.